If you're saying yes to every opportunity in business, every meeting, every collaboration, every shiny new idea, then you're basically doing the equivalent of playing every hand in poker. And that is the fastest way to lose money. The best poker players in the world actually fold about 80% of their hands. Not because they're passive, but because they're disciplined. But you see, poker isn't actually about that high stakes, risk-taking, exhilarating gambling that we see in all the movies. Most pros are quietly folding their hands, waiting for their spots, and playing based on calculation, probability, skill, and psychology. And business is the same. We see the glitz and glamour of founder lifestyle on social media, traveling the world to meet clients, the talking on stages, being invited on podcasts, raising capital for the business. But guess what? A lot of that stuff is actually causing the business to lose money. So this video will explain the parallels between poker and business and how you might actually have a leak in your business that's bleeding you money. So I think poker's a heavily misunderstood game. Now, since I've been playing, I've learned so much more about what it really takes to become a poker champion compared to what we see in the movies. And most amateur players think that poker is gambling. You see these really fun, like high energy games on TV or even in your local's casino. When you see poker in movies, it's often people going for a risk. They get lucky when their one card comes out, but most poker players don't do that. So whilst amateurs see poker as gambling, pro poker players see it simply a game of maths and probability. The true discipline is actually in the hands you don't play. You will definitely know an amateur poker player from the things they come out with at the table. They'll say things, well, maybe I'll get lucky, or maybe I'll hit the flop, or you've got to be in it to win it. That's a classic. And you hear that in business too. So they end up playing everything, but that's how they go broke. Sure, they may get lucky sometimes and they might hit and win big and they feel amazing. But if they keep playing in that dangerous way over and over again, that is a surefire recipe to go broke. So as I said, pro poker players actually fold about 80% of hands, which is nuts. And I love it because it goes back to my favorite rule with the Pareto principle, where everything in life is just 80-20. So they fold 80% of their hands and they actually play with 20% of them. And for those of you who are listening to me now thinking, this girl's nuts, poker is just gambling, then I'm going to send you back to one of the most quoted poker movies of all time, and that's Rounders.
I mean, why do you think the same 5 guys make it to the final table at the World Series of Poker every single year? What are they, the luckiest guys in Las Vegas?
Matt Damon has a point, right? If the same players win over and over again, that's not gambling. It can't be luck. It has to come down to skill, discipline, and probability. So many entrepreneurs do the exact same thing that many amateur poker players do. They say yes to too many hands. Every partnership, every meeting, every idea, every networking event, every side project, and every exciting opportunity. So this is not the fault of entrepreneurs. There is science behind this, and the science is called opportunity bias. So this is where most people think that more opportunities equals more success. But in reality, more opportunities equals more distraction. So there's been tons of research on this. For example, the American Psychology Association has done some work on this in the economics field, and they've done papers on the opportunity cost theory. So plenty of these studies have shown that productivity actually drops with task switching. So because you're saying yes to every single opportunity, you're switching to so many different tasks, and therefore you're unable to concentrate on your one big goal that you should be going towards. All you're doing is veering off that path into all these other unknown territories because you're taking on all these exciting new opportunities, which are essentially distractions. Now, I actually covered this study as well in my video on how to get inbox zero every single day. You may want to check that as well if you are prone to multitasking and task switching. So do remember that every yes you say in your business is like putting another chip in that pot. Now, you only get a limited number of chips when you start, and you have to be pretty smart to build that stack up. But it just takes one little mistake and you could see that entire stack blow away in seconds. So I'm not saying you don't say yes to opportunities. How I got to where I am because I said yes to so many things. And you just don't know what doors can open, which is why it can get so attractive to say yes to sort of certain things, because you just don't know where it leads, and that's exciting. But when you're an established entrepreneur and you've hardly got any time, you need to be very wise about what you say yes to. But when you're just starting out, saying yes can be super powerful. It builds your experience, it expands your network, it builds your confidence, and potentially it could also help you find your niche. So early stage founders should absolutely play more hands. I mean, as a beginner poker player, it makes sense to play more hands. Whilst you're taught not to, and you're supposed to fold 80% of the hands, it's a good idea sometimes to play more hands, because as you start to play them, you get into bad spots, you lose loads of chips, and you realise why you shouldn't be playing those hands. You need to learn how to play the game properly. And if you don't say yes to certain opportunities, you won't get that experience to be able to play the game. As I've said so many times, doing what I do with knobs, you have to say yes to be in the right room to be able to gain those opportunities. So there are right times to say yes. Your position matters so much in poker, but your position also matters so much in business, and people do not realise this. This is one of the reasons why I came up with the positional advantage, because it's one of the most underestimated things in business that people are overlooking. Your position for your business is everything. Now in poker, you have different positions around the poker table. Where you sit will actually give you a potential advantage. Because if you are playing your hand first, you have a lot less information than everyone else at the table. By the time you're coming around to the person who's playing last, you've got a read on everyone else. You know kind of how strong their hand is by how they've played. And so this puts you in a much better position. Now in business, it's the same thing. If you're going first, if you're starting out in your market, if you're the first person in your little micro niche, then you don't have as much information. You don't know how your customers are going to respond. You don't know how potential customers are going to come along and respond. Therefore, I don't think you can play as many hands, because you have to tread much more carefully. However, if you've got the positional advantage in business, that means if you've got all 5 of those points on the star in the right place, then you can play way more hands. This is because you've got more information. You've been around longer. You've got that positional advantage. You know about your competitors. You know about the market. You can make better informed decisions. By that point, you are able to be selective of which hands you play. But the thing is, you should still fold 80% of them, because that's what the pros do. Even when they've got the possession, they are not playing every single hand. They are still being very selective of which hands they play in the right spots. Just because you have the positional advantage doesn't mean you can get lax with it. So what's the problem with playing every hand? Well, there's a real cost involved, and this cost comes in different forms. First of all, your time. And time is everything to founders. For every opportunity that you say yes to, think about how many meetings there are, the endless calls, different projects that you're going to have to manage. This will soak up so much of your time. So this comes to number 2, your focus. The time is one thing, but task switching completely destroys all possibility of deep work. This means you won't actually hit those really, truly meaningful goals in anywhere near the time you had planned to. Number 3 is reputation. People don't realise this, but saying yes to too many things can actually make your positioning weak. People don't understand why you're doing so many things instead of just concentrating on the one thing. And this is coming from someone who's a portfolio entrepreneur. People have criticised me for this a lot. Now, the many things that I do all kind of have a common thread, but that's my fault on my communication for not making that thread clearer. But if you are constantly saying yes to everything, trust me, it can actually help destroy your reputation. Of course, number 4 is your energy. Doing so many things creates insane decision fatigue. There are plenty of scientific research on decision fatigue and context switching and how much it destroys productivity. So the biggest cost of saying yes to everything isn't failure, it's mediocrity across too many things. So I'm going to leave you with 4 rules that you can apply to your business so that you're playing disciplined poker in your business. So rule number 1, remember that most opportunities need to be folded. So every time you see a new opportunity, ask yourself, does this move the business forward? does this improve my position? If the answer is no to both of those questions, then fold that hand. Number 2 is only play hands where you have an edge. So in poker, this could be your position, obviously the physical hand itself, your skill compared to who you're up against. In business, this could be multiple things. It could be your expertise, your network, your experience, or your brand. And if you don't have an edge, you need to think carefully and you may want to fold that hand. Rule number 3, remember that time is your stack. In poker, if you lose all your chips, you're out. In business, you lose time, you lose your leverage. Number 4, be patient. Professional poker players wait for the right spots to play their hands. Sometimes they wait for hours. It's the same in business. The biggest opportunities often come from your reputation and your positioning, but those aren't things you can develop overnight. You absolutely need patience for that. So the biggest difference between amateurs and professionals in poker isn't how aggressively they play, it's how often they fold. And the same is true in business. So if you're playing every hand, you're probably losing. So the best entrepreneurs don't chase every opportunity. They wait for the ones where they have the positional advantage. So tell me something, what's one opportunity that you wish you'd folded in your business? Please do drop the answer in the comments below, and please do give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more stuff like this to help you get the positional advantage in your business.